you're single and you want to meet someone, I think the standard is always like try to find someone who's like Christian and like don't have sex with them. Like that's kind of like the standard I see. Right. But what if the standard is find someone who is like on fire for Jesus and then she's pursuing after Jesus wholeheartedly and so are you? The girl doesn't really know what your intentions are right away. And I've heard this from many girls. They're like, I don't really know where I stand or whatever. So first, letting her know where she stands with me. I would tell her like, I really enjoyed this. After every date, I want to continue to get to know you. Like I want to continue this. So she's not wondering, does he like me? Was that good? What? I wonder, maybe I should send him a text after the date and tell him I actually enjoyed it. Like she doesn't have to wonder. I'm telling you straight up, there's no assumptions. I did like this. I do like you. I want to continue to get to know you.
All right, we're going to get started. We are excited because we got a great podcast for you guys. We have a great episode. We're going to be talking about dating. And we have a special one with our son, Gabriel, our number two son. And I mean, he's a number one, but he's number two in the order. And then he have his beautiful wife, Kennedy, and they've been married almost 2 years. Almost. But they have a brand new baby coming up. Like we're talking like in the oven, ready to pop, ready to come out.
Any day.
And so we're going to talk about dating. So if you're single, this is for you. If you are thinking about dating, this is for you. This is not just, how to find a mate and get married. This is like all the things you want to be talking about, thinking about, asking questions about. Even if you're helping someone else, like maybe your kid, this is for you. So let's get into it with Gabriel and Kennedy. And what I want to start out with is maybe you guys could share your story and just start there. And then I know you're ready to pop, so we want to go real quick into this before that baby comes out.
Yeah, it's gonna come out in this episode.
Yeah, right? Maybe that'd be kind of cool.
I'd be down with that. That's how to go viral.
My water broke right here. So why don't we guys start with your story? How'd you guys meet?
Yeah. Okay, so I am actually from Arkansas, as you guys know. So when I graduated high school, I really wanted to go into prophetic worship and study how to be a good worship leader. And so I actually heard of International House of Prayer University, which is only 6 hours away from my hometown. So I was like, okay, I feel like this is a good option, a good place for me to go. They have awesome worship, 24-hour house of prayer. So I ended up applying. I accepted into the worship school, and I decided to move to Kansas City, move my whole life to Kansas City. And so my parents came with me, and they were getting me all moved in and ready to go. And we were getting ready to go to new student orientation. And that day we went to a Chipotle, and it was the last time I was going to hang out with my family before they left me there. And so we went to go eat some Chipotle, and my friend was with me in line. She came with my family to help me move, and she sees Gabriel. And we don't know each other, obviously. I've never seen him in my life. And he's sitting there with one of our friends, and she just elbows me, and she's like, oh my gosh, Kennedy, you're going to be living here. Like, that guy's pretty cute. And I was like, yeah, he's cute, but like, I'm here to focus on the Lord, typical, like, I'm 18-year-old girl. I'm here for ministry school. I'm like, I'm focusing on the Lord. I'm consecrating myself right now. And so I was like, yeah, that's cool, whatever. So we go and we eat lunch, and we're sitting across from him. And I just noticed he keeps looking our direction.
The same guy at Chipotle is at the same ministry school orientation.
Yeah. So we actually were just eating Chipotle, and then my parents go to drop me off, and then all of a sudden we end up seeing each other at new student orientation. And maybe you want to share your POV.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. I saw their family sitting, and they were like even holding hands and praying, and I thought, oh, that's cool. They're probably Christian. And I actually kind of thought in my head, because they're Christian and because it's close to IFU, I bet that you actually are part of the school. I actually had the assumption. And so then you
guys were actually holding hands at Chipotle before you ate.
Their family my family. We were praying for our food.
That's actually what they do pretty much every time. But I actually, for whatever reason, I saw you with your brother, and I thought, She's probably dating him. I don't know why,
My little brother.
but I was like a random assumption. I was like, they're probably dating. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, so fast forward a little bit. You're taking the school. You guys connect. You see each other. Then what happened?
You're like, hey, that's
Yeah.
the Chipotle guy. That
Well, it was me probably who initiated. I thought
sure,
I thought she was. I actually thought she was really cool. I knew some of my friends actually knew of her because you were from Arkansas. I had a friend that was from Arkansas, and they actually knew who she was, and so they were saying really great things about Kennedy. And so when I like started to, I was like, man, maybe I got to hang out with her. So I went, and I remember I like grabbed your. I was like, hey, can I get your number? I want to make a group chat. And in this,
I'm totally naive and innocent.
That was a
by
good
the
move,
way.
by the
I
way.
was like,
no
I was like,
idea
let's do
what
it.
he's
I'm gonna make a group chat. We're all going cliff jumping tonight. Me and a whole group. And you invite some of your friends. Some of my friends are gonna come. And then she's like, oh, for sure. She gave me her number. There was at the time.
You didn't make
Did
it
not think
awkward.
anything
No.
of it.
You didn't think anything of it.
No.
That was a good
But
move.
at the time, also, there was no group chat. There was no plan to go cliff jumping. It wasn't a thing. But honestly, if you would have said no, I probably wouldn't have made it a thing at all. I would have just
Right.
not done it.
you created a plan.
I created a plan in my head, and then when she said yes, then I was like, now I'm gonna make it come. And everyone was down because everyone wanted to get to know each other and whatever. So it worked
So you
out.
went cliff
Worked
jumping?
out.
We went cliff jumping,
Oh, yeah.
and then she came with,
And I rode in your car with you.
you know. And so then I had her number, and so I kind of started to reach out and text.
Oh, you totally started reaching
Yes.
out and texting. Like we were hanging out every single day.
Like with your group of friends.
Yeah, we had a group that essentially Gabriel brought me into his group.
Yes.
And it was like, of course, Elijah, like his brother, and he's like best friends with Elijah. And so I was always hanging out with them, these boys, and I don't know, I usually would not be hanging out with a group of boys, but Gabriel just kept inviting me and I just kept having fun. So I was like, okay, I'll just keep growing this friendship. And eventually, one day, I noticed something started to kind of change, and I started to have feelings for Gabriel maybe after about a month of like being friends. And I was like, oh, maybe I kind of like this guy. Like, it seems like all of his friends talk so good about him, like when he's not around, and he loves his family. And I remember it was more recently whenever my car had broken down and you came and you picked me up
Well,
and
I
drove
remember
me.
this. I came by for some reason. I don't even remember. I think, why did
I think my
Gabriel's
car,
car.
my car
Something
was
was wrong with
actually
your car,
in the
too.
shop. I actually think I just had a pop tire or something, and so it was in
And
the
so,
shop.
and I, our kids go to school near where you guys were, and so I was.
I asked you to
trying
pick me up.
You're like, Mom, can you come pick me up? And so I pull up to the front of the building.
And I said, oh, so can you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden in pops this cute girl, like bouncy, super smiley, and she gets in the back seat, and Gabriel gets in the front seat, and he's like, "Yeah, Mom, that's Kennedy." And I was like, "Hey, Kennedy, like, okay." And I made a note. I was like, "Kennedy seems really sweet."
Yeah.
And then on the way there, so are you interested in Kennedy?
Did I say
my
that?
gosh.
100%.
That's
Oh,
so
I
funny.
probably did.
Like, is she
What
an
did you
option?
say?
I think that was the words you said. Is she an option? Something like that.
And what did you say?
I said,
I think you
yeah,
probably
I
said
think
yeah.
she's an option.
Oh.
I was online.
Well, then.
That was pretty early on.
Yeah, that
But
was
that,
super
that must
early
have been
on.
like day 3.
Yeah, it was like
It
pretty
was-
early.
Do you think so?
Like your car broke for sure first week.
Yeah, that's
Must have
probably
been
true.
like-
Wow.
Probably a little farther into it. But then I started to realize I like Gabriel, and so I started just sitting by him a lot. Like, I just started putting myself in a position where I like was, shoulder to shoulder with Gabriel, kind of insinuating that I was interested. And we would salsa dance because, you guys are salsa dancers. And from Nikki and Chocho, the grandparents.
Salsa
so
dancers.
you
We are
would
salsa
teach me to
dancers.
salsa. And I remember one day we were like at a friend's family reunion and we were salsaing. And I was like, oh, I really like this guy. I do. 100%. And I think it was maybe not too far
You like
after.
country line dancing and you like
Yeah.
salsa dancing.
And that's convenient because we were salsa
Yeah.
dancers.
We were salsa dancers.
Well, let's jump in on something. Let's jump in on, okay, for someone paying attention, listening, they're in the dating season,
Yeah.
or maybe they're not in the dating season, but they want
Yeah.
to figure this out. So what were your non-negotiables? What were you looking for in a guy? So let's
Yeah.
start with you, and then the same question: what were you looking for in a girl?
Okay. I think something really big that I was looking for in a guy was someone that I was actually equally yoked with. I had been in a few relationships in high school.
Explain what that means, because someone may not understand what equally yoked means.
Yeah, so I had been in a few relationships in high school, and I really wish I wouldn't have. I think that it was really unproductive. But these guys, they would say that they're Christians, and then they really just like know of God. And I'm from the Bible Belt. Like, everyone goes to church and goes through the motions, but really they didn't have a relationship with God. And they didn't essentially like operate in the gifts of the Holy Spirit, or, and to find someone equally yoked as me, I want to find someone who had a deep desire to know God as much as I did, and even more than I did, actually, and find someone who's pursuing God on a deep, intimate level, so that I could then follow along. If it's somebody that I'm trying to marry, I want to marry someone who can lead me spiritually. And so just finding someone who I was equally yoked with, someone who had a deep relationship with God on an even deeper level than I did, is what I really wanted. And so many guys, they just didn't even they didn't even know about the gifts of the Holy Spirit, or like praying in tongues, or I don't know. So I
Which
just
was something
thought
important to you, because in high school you really had
like
an encounter with the Lord in those ways, and so you were like,
right.
I want that. I remember you saying that to me.
Yeah, I mean, I was baptized in the Holy Spirit when I was 13, and it was something very important to me that a guy would be able to lead me spiritually as he submits to God, that I would be able to submit under his leadership, because I'm looking for a husband. I'm not looking for some boyfriend, boy toy, we're just having fun. I wanted someone who could actually lead me. Yeah, we're not just salsa dancers. So, yeah, I think a huge standard was I had been just fed up after high school, and just thinking the next time that I give my time to a guy, I'm not going to waste my time, and I'm going to make sure that I know where he is with the Lord before I even date this guy, and that he can actually lead me, and that he actually has deep relationship with God and operates in the gifts of the Holy Spirit. So that was a big one for me.
That was a good gem right there. That's great for girls to even pay attention to.
Yeah.
Before Gabriel goes, I'll even say something else, because I think even as parents, we kind of have a conversation about the girl, or even about the guy, whoever he is.
Yeah.
And we'll go on social media and check out who this person is. And Michael, the oldest, sent a TikTok of you talking about what you were looking for.
Yeah, from a year previous.
Yeah.
And I don't remember.
Let me tell you, that TikTok went viral in our family.
Multiple times.
All my siblings on my side, his whole family, everyone was like...
Grandparents, everyone looked at it.
Wow.
And that's also something that we wanted to look at. Who is this girl? What is she about? What is she like?
And it was a good TikTok.
It was a great TikTok.
It was all the things you wanted in a guy. And we were like, this is a winner. This girl, yep, this one.
This is a great girl. Double down on this one, Gabriel.
Yeah.
So why don't you go on your
Okay, so non-negotiable. She's gotta be super beautiful. No, we're not being fake. That is real. I'm 20. I'm not trying to settle down. You know what I mean? I'm right away. That was the number one thing. I was before I step into what's her character, I just want to be attracted to her. And I would say, first of all, I was right away, super attracted to Kennedy. That was dope. And then I would say after that, because that's just kind of the foot in the door to the character, because really attractiveness doesn't matter in terms of anything character-wise. But I would say you were what I was looking for was someone who's actually just straight up humble. In terms of even let's say reconciliation. If there was an issue that I had, I wanted someone that was not gonna hold these long accounts, was gonna be super. I always wanted someone that was just not really dramatic, wasn't really going to be high maintenance. So those are some non-negotiables. If there was high maintenance, always drama, always feel I have to walk on eggshells, I couldn't really be myself, any of those kinds of things. And I would say, Yeah, and I would say spiritual gifts for me as well. If I'm walking in spiritual gifts and that's a standard that I have, not that spiritual gifts are what's needed for salvation, but it was what I was looking for a partner. And so that was a standard as well. That was pretty up there.
And why is that? Is it for both of you? Is it because if someone claims to know the Lord, but yet doesn't have that element of the Holy Spirit activity in their life,
Yeah.
it's just like they're lacking probably some power, relationship, all that stuff, intimacy.
Well, Jesus said in Mark that if you believe in me, these signs will accompany. So that kind of shows me that if someone believes in Jesus, there will be certain things that will accompany them. And if those things aren't really accompanying them, like, I don't know the deepness of their relationship with the Lord. If you don't truly have conversation with the Lord, it's hard for me to understand that you would know him.
Right.
Jesus says, my sheep know my voice
you wanna have all he
and
has.
follow me.
Yeah.
So if you don't really know what the Lord's voice sounds like, I think that'd be difficult to discern his voice from other things in the world. So to me, it's important that, especially that you know what the Lord's voice is and that you would follow it and you can discern and that you can even have your own spiritual, life outside of me. All that stuff is super.
Like you guys were really compatible in that way. That was like one thing when you guys got together. It was like, okay, these guys are spiritually compatible for each other.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different forms of compatibility, or I should say multiple different avenues that you look for, and that was one that you guys had.
Yeah, I would say for like a young, I was thinking about this, I was like, if you're like a young dude and you're like maybe you're single and you want to meet someone, I think the standard is always like try to find someone who's like Christian and like don't have sex with them. Like that's kind of like the standard I see. Right. But what if the standard is find someone who is like on fire for Jesus and then she's pursuing after Jesus wholeheartedly and so are you. Right. And then you kind of like are pursuing after him together rather than like, do they read the Bible and attend church with their grandma? Like that is such like a low standard that we have. And so like, we're going to try to find someone on Snapchat and then like see if they attend church or they have a Bible verse in their bio. Like that's our standard.
Well, I think it's even worse. I think they go, okay, he bought me lunch or he bought me coffee. He paid for the meal.
Yeah.
And he goes to church once in a while.
Right.
That's kind of the standard.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, what does that mean?
He opens my door.
That's
walks
nice.
On the outside of the street.
I think those are nice things. So don't get me wrong, but I just, I like what you guys are talking about because you're talking about depth and you're really looking for partnership that is going to go through life with you on the things that actually matter.
Right.
Because you're going to grow up. You're going to grow into something and they're going to grow with you. They're going to sharpen you. They're going to strengthen you. Or you're going to go through hard things. And hopefully this person believes what you believe and is going to walk with you into the word of God, living that out with you. Not just like, what happened to the nice guy that just bought me lunch?
Right.
That doesn't go very far.
No.
So I love what you guys are talking about. But
well, and I was going to say, like, there was something Gabriel said during that season. It was like, he's like, I'm going to go somewhere. And people say, sometimes you get, I don't know, it's like looked down upon or something if you think you should go somewhere just to find a spouse.
Yeah.
But it's like Gabriel was, and all of our boys were kind of like this. And we recommend this to people. It's like go somewhere where it's more likely where people are going to be like-minded and like-hearted.
Yeah.
And get in groups. Because sometimes, you can't find people simply because you're not in communities where there might be potential people there that think like you and believe like you and walk like you. And a lot of people are just waiting for just like this miracle where it's just like I bump into someone on the road and there's my soulmate, and it's
they're
like
come to my door and just
it's like
I'm supposed to marry you.
Right, movies enforce this idea too, and I think people just think this, and it's like no, you actually have to put yourself out there, and I think you both described putting yourself out there in different ways, even in your story. And before we go with some of the other discussion points, I wanted to just add like your first date because I think it's really cute.
It was
you
so
guys.
good.
It was like, what, a month in after you met?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
And
that soon.
Really soon.
It was September that we did that. We had heard about Kennedy a little bit, and I remember we were all just at a family night, like sitting around Dairy Queen, like our table in the corner that we always go to. We're sitting there, and we're hearing about Gabriel came, and he's like telling us about Kennedy and all this. And we just so happened to be going with our brother and sister-in-law and some other family members the following night to a Michael Bublé concert, which was the first time we had ever gone. And we're going, we had tickets, and Antonio's like, bring Kennedy, ask her. And Gabriel's like, Oh, should I ask her?
How much are the tickets? I'm like, oh, about $150 each.
I don't remember. And then everyone's
Here's
like,
a little
hyping.
bit, and Gabriel took the rest and
So Gabriel got up instantly, and he like.
called her up.
There's a video of it too.
Yeah.
I actually got to
Oh,
see the
really?
video of
So he
him
called her.
doing that.
Can you tell that little part? Because I think
sure.
it actually shows a little bit. The reason why I want to say it, because it shows that there's an intentionality to pursuit.
Yeah.
And there's a fun with the pursuit also.
Yes.
And I think even the fact of how it all went down and it worked out, your first date was a Michael Bublé concert.
Yeah.
Which I think is
that's
really
cool.
sweet.
So good.
I would say, yeah. Well, I knew I liked her, and I think we told each other that day we had, like, I was interested in her.
Well, Elijah had done a little bit of spying behind the scenes. And then he asked me, without Gabriel, he was like, would you ever consider dating my brother? And then he's like, I won't tell Gabriel this.
Yeah.
But then he called Gabriel, and then he called me, and
Yeah.
then
Actually
Gabriel.
kind of set you guys up.
Yeah,
Totally.
he set us up. And so then Gabriel heard on the phone me tell Elijah, yeah, I like Gabriel. And
She even
so-
asked, like, while he was on the phone, like, is Gabriel hearing this? And I was.
I
had an
know.
AirPod in, and I was hearing their call.
I won't tell him a word.
And
because
Elijah's
he's
like,
hearing it
and
right
she even asked, like, is Gabriel hearing this right now? And Elijah's like, no.
I
he's
knew
not.
he was lying.
I had an AirPod into that conversation, and Kenny even said, like, well, if he is hearing this, I don't mind, but I do like him.
But you do already.
I do like.
But then the next day I went
So
up.
we know. We both know.
No,
we like
but
each
I
other.
actually didn't just know. I actually told you in person.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
I took you to Quick Trip that night. That's a gas station nearby. And I literally just sat down with you and I was like, hey, just to let you know, I am interested in you. Like the day of. I wasn't like perceiving she
right.
liked me and like just gonna let that be good enough to go on a date. I just sat, like, was like, hey, can I grab you for a second? Brought her a snack and I was like, hey, I'm actually really interested in you. I think that you're a really great girl. I think you have a great reputation, all that, da. And then I was like, I think, like, would it be all right if I pursued you and, like, actually went into relationship type of context with you in this way? And then you're like, yeah, of course. And I was like, and just to start up front, if at any point you want to get out of the relationship, if at any point you don't feel comfortable or you want to call it off, I want to give you permission even right now that you can end it. Like that you don't, like, that way it's kind of like I'm like releasing control of this, because I don't want to be one that's like someone likes me because they feel bad that they have to go out because I'm asking them. I don't want them to remain in a relationship with me.
You want it reciprocated.
I want it reciprocated. So at any point you feel uncomfortable, if at any point you want to leave, if at any point I'm not going to try to stop you. I'm not even going to try to like ask you a bunch of questions and be like, try to keep you. You have full power to go. And I think that also kind of, at least what you've told me, like it kind of helped. I don't know what your thought.
Before the date, you doing that made me like 100% confident in that relationship. I had never, ever heard of a guy doing anything like that. And then all of a sudden I just felt like a release, like, oh, okay, there's no pressure. Like if this doesn't work out, that's okay. And we can just keep growing in friendship. But once we went on that date after him doing that, we just kind of knew. We knew that it was going to be a long-term relationship.
Well, and then
from that.
Kennedy came. We all went out to dinner as a
Yes.
family
Oh, yeah.
before the concert.
She literally met our entire family day one.
And so she comes and she just passed with flying colors because Kennedy was so cute and looked everyone in the eye and just answered all our questions.
I even was kind of
asked
asking her though.
questions.
I was like, is this like, look, our whole family is eating out. We can just go eat somewhere else, but they're all eating at like P.F. Chang, so we don't have to meet everybody right away. But if you're down
You were
and
sitting
shoot.
somewhere else because your tickets were somewhere else because you bought them.
Well,
later.
yeah, in the Bublé concert, we didn't even see you guys.
Right.
I don't remember seeing anyone. But in the restaurant beforehand,
Yeah.
I was like, you're gonna meet like my aunt, my uncle, my brother,
I was like,
sister,
yeah.
everybody.
Bring it on.
And,
Let's
and
meet
she was like
everybody.
down. Yeah, grandparents, everybody. You just took it. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll do it. And
So what you kind of shared, because I've talked to other young guys who are interested in a girl. They find her pretty. Mm-hmm. That's the standard for the guy. That's the only thing he really knows.
Yeah.
He really hasn't tested the waters. You tested the waters, Gabriel. You weren't going in blind like, hey, does she like me? Does she not like me? You knew she liked you.
Yes.
You had already built some sort of rapport with her
Yes.
of interest.
Yeah.
Maybe flirtation. Some of those things where I think it's a dangerous thing for the guy, so risky. If he doesn't know that she reciprocates any type of feelings,
To just go.
hey, you want to go for coffee? Without any type of knowing where she's at.
Yeah.
They didn't test the waters. So
Right.
I do want to encourage that. You got to test the waters a little bit to make sure, and she's interested in me back, that I can actually ask her on a proper date or share your feelings that I'm interested in you and all of that.
And you kind of gave enough time too, because I know it was about a month or whatever. It wasn't a huge amount of time, but I remember you were kind of interested in her, and I think it was kind of like, I'm not sure she's there yet. Like, this is the vibe I felt.
Right.
And she got there over a pretty short period of time, a few weeks, but you know, you were even kind of waiting for that. You didn't jump the gun like week one, like, hey, girl.
I actually did, though. I remember I went up to you and I was like, man, I just wanted to take her for coffee right away. I already think I like her. I already want to get to know her. But then you're like, yeah, she might like you, but it's not really there yet that you know for a fact.
Who
so
said that?
You.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, I like went to your bed because I was like, I am interested in her. And it was like a little bit of time. Like, it wasn't like we just like, but it was still like, I don't think it's there yet where I should ask her for like a coffee just yet.
Yeah, it should have marinated a little bit longer.
Yeah.
It's
and I think
perfect,
it's so risky. A guy can even get courageous,
Yeah.
but with false courage
Right.
and risking hurt feelings.
Yeah.
I think that getting hurt feelings is fine. What I don't like is that they're risking without knowledge at all.
Well, and it's
Yeah.
actually not that honoring of her either, because you're just thinking about what you want instead of watching maybe where
Right.
her heart's at and all of that. And I think that's partly why we wanted to talk about the art of pursuit a little bit, like what that looks like, because it is really a lost art. Like, you hear so much on both sides, like there's no good guys, there's no good girls, there's nobody, and no one really knows what to do, and it just seems like,
Well, they're only text, or they might DM the girl, and they're going to try to have a relationship over text or DMing. That's totally improper too.
Yeah.
Instead of just trying to do a face to face, I think the texting and DMing is fine unto face to face.
Right, right.
Not let's see how I can nurture this relationship over texting, because you really don't get to know the other person anyways.
No.
And they can think it through. They can even ChatGPT it now. Can you imagine?
You're like
it's a real
talking
conversation.
How can I respond to this? This is what she said. And that's not good. So you're not getting to know the person in a real way.
It's true.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about something. Now that you went on a date, you're interested, you've been maybe going on multiple dates, I don't know. But now you really want to date this girl. And there's a bunch of things that you did, Gabriel, and you responded. But you did some things to actually lock her down, if you will, to secure this relationship. What would be some of the steps that you took that you would even encourage other guys to take?
Yeah.
I like this girl. She's interested in me. We went on a couple dates. Now what?
I would say first thing is the girl doesn't really know what your intentions are right away. And I've heard this from many girls. They're like, I don't really know where I stand or whatever. So first, letting her know where she stands with me. I would tell her, like, I really enjoyed this. After every date, I want to continue to get to know you. Like, I want to continue this.
Clarity.
So she's not wondering, oh, does he like me? Was that good? What? I wonder, maybe I should send him a text after the date and tell him I actually enjoyed it. Like, she doesn't have to wonder. I'm telling you straight up, there's no assumptions. I did like this. I do like you. I want to continue to get to know you with the intention, not that it has to be marriage, but with the intention of marriage. So we're actually going to do it in this way. And then I would say after like a few dates, after I really start to be like this,
I mean, the
person,
marriage is in your mind, but you're not saying.
No, but
we're
she's-
going to get married.
Right.
But
Right.
there's an intention.
She's meeting the checklist that you
Yes.
have that you
Right.
know so far of a potential marriage partner,
Yes.
or you wouldn't be doing it.
I wouldn't. And if I see like some serious red flags that it's like, I don't think this is the type of person I could marry, then I would probably,
You have an out, yeah.
I would cut that off. But until, like, if I don't see that, I'm going to continue to be like, I really enjoy this. I want to continue to get to know you. But after a few dates, I started to really bring you around my family, I would say quite a bit more.
Yeah.
You started to get to know my parents. I was then trying to get to know your family. I went over for Thanksgiving, I think. like shortly after we started dating as well.
Yeah, that would have been in November. So if you started dating in October, November, you're already at family gathering.
She's long distance, or else I probably would have even hung out with her family earlier. But yeah, the next like available thing for us to like leave with a break, I went over to their family with Thanksgiving, first time. And so I think that would probably be my next step after you've been on a few dates, is just get integrated with the family, because that you're locking her down. She knows your parents, she knows your siblings, she knows what you stand for. Yeah. You know her parents, you know her background, you know her history. I mean, now you're truly starting to get to know somebody. You're truly starting to know their history. So that would be kind of my thing.
Talk about even the family side, because you're locking her down. I you know, what I mean by that is you're creating the exclusive relationship of boyfriend and girlfriend. You know, we're talking titles and total time commitment and all that. So I know what I encourage my sons to do. What did you do to lock her down?
Like, elaborate a little bit more with like family wise.
The dad.
Okay.
Like, you probably had a conversation with her dad. Where I want to go, because a lot of guys don't know this. They don't do it. And they're really not locking her down with permission of coming to their house.
Yeah. Right. Well, honoring the parents, and especially the father.
Yeah. When I went there, I think I had a conversation with her dad. I would have talked to him in person earlier. I think that before like asking like, can we become boyfriend, girlfriend? I do think it's wise to have a conversation in person rather than maybe texting the dad or calling him. I understand maybe some situations you need to do a call or FaceTime. Yeah. It's a little different, but I will say I did go in person, and we did talk about like, if I can date you. And I had a conversation with your dad.
Yeah, I remember we withheld the title of like dating until you got to visit my family.
I literally was like, we're not going to call each other boyfriend and girlfriend until the point that your dad is on board with this relationship. And I know at the moment he doesn't know me.
Well, and there is a difference between going on a few dates with somebody.
I would say that.
For sure. And an official relationship. And we've seen that with all of you boys so far, and even Isabella. It's like, it's good. And this is also where you take some of the pressure off to just, you're going on a few dates. It doesn't mean that you guys are like stuck, you said, like there's no way out. There is. And so you took a little bit of time to like, solidify it and make sure.
I don't know if you need to, like, in my opinion, ask like the dad's permission, like for like a coffee, like date one, you're like, I mean, I wouldn't say that, because maybe that's also like kind of putting some pressure on it, and you don't even necessarily know where you stand with the girl, and you're just like talking to the dad, and the girl's not even like, I don't really know what I think. I don't know if
you want to make it more official.
Yeah, but once it's more like, okay, this is pretty established, then I would say now is like the time to like talk to him and get permission and get to know him, and then he knows you. And I also think that's kind of a good standard, because then when I get married and I ask permission for her hand in marriage, it's a little bit easier. I already kind of have that rapport with her dad that I will be honoring to you. I will actually respect you, and I will respect what your decision is in regards to if I ask to get to know her, and then when I ask to marry her. So I think it is important.
You handled some of the things her dad said to you well too. Like, he went to you and said some things like, so you're in a ministry school and all that, and he's like, I want you to have a steady job, and I want you to have. So you go and you quit and you went and did that.
Yeah, I was gonna do a second year, but it was a little bit farther down the line. It was probably after the whole year. Then we were starting to talk about marriage, and so because of that, like, and I was like, it was definitely on the forefront of like our conversations. And so then he was like, well, if marriage is kind of like a topic, I would want you to financially provide. I'm good with all of these things, with your character, all that stuff, but financially I want you to provide. So I was like, I'm not going to go to do a second year ministry school, because I can't really make a ton of money doing that. Yeah. It's just the truth. Doesn't matter how many hours I can work outside of this. It's just not going to be enough to save up for all the things I need to with the ring and all that stuff. So I quit, got a job full time. The same day I texted a guy. The next day I went on an interview and got a job the next day. So I think if marriage is something that you're considering, there's really no amount of like thing that should hinder you.
Yeah, there's no hoops you shouldn't jump.
Are you going to like pursue and whatever is needed? Are you going to do that? Or are you going to like let it go and be like flippant about it? I don't think marriage is one of those things where it's like, whatever. If this is like the second most important decision or whatever, then it should be all of my attention, everything I can do, if I do want to marry this person, to make this possible.
You're earning trust.
Yes.
You're taking responsibility.
Yeah.
You're honoring the father, which also will make you feel comfortable, safe, secure. Your dad is approving it and guiding it, actually. He's helping to guide because he wants to see you act like a man that can take care of my daughter.
Right.
And I appreciate all that. I appreciate all the conversations. I appreciate the way you responded. And I guarantee you felt really, really good about that whole thing.
Yeah, 100%. I was really, really close with my dad growing up. And whenever I was 13, my dad took me on a date on my birthday, and he always would take me on daddy-daughter dates, but this day was different. He gave me a purity ring, and he really described to me the type of guy that should pursue me one day, and he really displayed. I have a younger brother, and there was a standard in our house of how the women should be treated and how mom should be treated, how sisters should be treated. And so I knew what I was looking for, and I knew the type of way I wanted to be pursued and the way I wanted my family to be respected by a future husband. And I saw that in Gabriel. And I thought, wow, I love the way that he's honoring my dad, because I really honor my dad. And I love the way that he taught me to be pursued. And because of that, I was able to confidently see all the standards that were being met in Gabriel and just be like, wow, he checks every box. Everything that my dad kind of raised me to believe and look for in a biblical man and husband. Gabriel's checking these off, and not only that, but he's also respecting my dad and his headship and leadership over me, as my dad is still my covering. Yep. And so I really loved that about Gabriel.
Yeah, I actually really honor your dad in this regard. When you guys were dating, not even like I don't know if it was official or not, but I remember him calling me, and we actually jumped on a Zoom call. We talked for almost 3 hours, and he wanted to get to know me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get to know him as well. And it was a long conversation, but I really value that, because I also know that you're a woman of value. If your dad is involved, protecting you, engaging, even interested in me, the dad of the son. And so I think that's all crucial and really helpful for a long-term successful relationship. Dating, and if it doesn't go any further, it's all good. You were protected in all regards. So I think it was great. I know, Kennedy, let's jump in on, you're interested in this guy, but you're also like evaluating this guy too.
Yeah.
So what were your non-negotiables besides the spiritual things?
Yeah.
I know the standards that you just said, I think that's crucial too. But like, talk about, even like maintaining purity. You guys are going forward. So maybe share some of those things from a girl's point of view. Yeah.
So I think one of the biggest number one green flags that I saw from Gabriel, and that was a high standard for me, was that he was really involved with his family, and that he loved his family, and that he had good relationship. I always knew what he thought like right away, because I was hanging out with him and his brother constantly. That was like in the friend group, so I was always with his family in a way. But even the way that they talked about you, Christelle, and how much they just adored their mom, and they loved their mom, and they adored their sister, and they loved their dad. They're in close relationship with their dad, and they're always getting wisdom from their parents. And I really, really loved that about Gabriel. And there was always family hangouts that they were going to. And now I get to be part of them, and I love the family hangouts. And I remember dating, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. I love being with this family. But that's why I was like so adamant of like, yeah, I'll meet your whole family right away. I want to meet your whole family, and I want to see how you interact with your whole family and what your relationship is with your grandparents and your sister-in-law and your mom. And it was just cool to see Gabriel interact with his family and go over to your house often and see how does he talk to his mom, and how does he respond to his dad, and how does he receive correction from his parents or nuggets of wisdom, and does he apply them to his life? And so I really think that was a huge standard that I had. And I just, guys were, I was 18, so guys just don't really like at 18 have that type of respect for their parents, or maybe they're just kind of fooling around and they're just hanging out with their friends and prioritizing that. So it was cool to see, and it was really refreshing to see a young man who prioritizes his family. And then I was confident, oh, this is someone that will prioritize my family when I'm married to him, and will prioritize me and the children and whatnot. So I just knew that that was a good aspect of someone I was looking for in a husband. And I would say even Proverbs 4 talks about guarding your heart with all diligence. And just, it was so relieving when Gabriel had that conversation with me right before our date, because it was like, okay, we are growing in friendship, and we don't have to have any sort of like, I don't know, physical, like, I don't have to hold his hand on the first date. I don't have to, I don't know, we don't have to go watch a movie and cuddle, or, you know, like, there's so many, nowadays it's like super expected that physical, there's going to be a certain physical aspect of like a first date. And so Gabriel pulling me aside and telling me, hey, you can like leave this relationship whenever, and just making me feel comfortable. I felt like I had freedom to just be friends with him in this beginning dating season. And I really loved that. And it helped me to prioritize my purity and what my dad had raised me to believe. And I was still wearing my purity ring. From 13, I wore my purity ring all the way up until I was engaged. And so just, it was cool to see the guy that values purity too. And hearing what Gabriel thought about purity, it wasn't just like, yeah, you can't have any guy friends, or you this or you that. Gabriel actually had like a heart for what did it look like to be pure and to lead me in purity, and for me to say, or for me to submit under that with Gabriel and not put ourselves in a position where we could stumble.
Made you feel safe?
Yeah, like I felt safe, and I felt like I was covered because I had that with my dad for so long, and then I am dating this guy, and I felt like I could really trust Gabriel because he actually had an idea of what it looked like to be pure.
Okay, well, let me jump in on something. So you had a dad who actually helped you.
Yeah.
Guarded you. Spoke about things.
Yeah.
A lot of girls don't. They're kind of clueless.
Right.
They're just watching Instagram. That's their role model. They're being told by their friends, this is what you dress like, this is what you do, this is what you act like. I mean, for us to evaluate you two, we went on social media, like I said, but we are also looking on social media what you were even visibly giving out, putting out as far as who you were, how you dressed, were you modest, immodest, were you all those things were also part of our evaluation.
Yeah.
This is a good girl.
Right.
And worthy to be pursued for possibly marriage, how that goes. So what would you tell girls? Because if they weren't told, Kennedy, then let's talk about it. Let's tell them what they should be looking like, acting like, dressing like, etc.
Yeah.
So why don't you jump in that a little bit? If you could give some nuggets of what your dad told you, what you're thinking about.
Some pieces of wisdom.
Yeah, I would say I have a little brother, and my brother, I remember I made like a TikTok, and one time we went viral, 80,000 likes, and all these girls were liking this TikTok and were wanting to pursue my brother. And I just remember thinking, I'm looking through all their social medias, and there's girls with like bikini photos on their social media, and there's girls, I don't know, just putting themselves out there and like wearing skimpy outfits. And I'm like, if they're putting their best version of themselves on Instagram, are they going to be the right person for my brother to date? And then I just thought, I have to model that even for my younger brother. And I have to model that for girls that look up to me. And that's why with my TikTok, I was so like loud as a young girl. Like I was really passionate about just being modest, and I can be cute and modest. And my dad always made me feel beautiful. He was always constantly telling me, Kennedy, you're so beautiful, and this is the way God created you. And it really, really, really built so much confidence in me. And I was able to be passionate about what does a godly young woman look like, and how can I display that. And everyone puts the best versions of themselves on social media. And so I just wanted to use that platform to be like, okay, this is what it looks like to model a godly young woman. And my dad really helped me to understand what that truly was, because he was constantly speaking into my identity and my looks and my physical appearance. And I was able to know, okay, God created me beautifully and perfectly, and there's no flaw, and God did an amazing work on me. And so I can be confident that I'm beautiful, and that I should really value the temple that God gave me, and to continue to walk that out in purity and modesty and confidence in knowing who I am in Christ.
So one of the biggest things is you would tell a girl is just like value yourself.
Yeah.
Like consider yourself worthwhile and
Yeah.
who you are, as a person, and make that standard for them, for
and
the
if
guy.
you don't have that father speaking in your life, like God wants to speak that into your life. And like it talks about God's thoughts about you outnumber the grains of sand on the seashore. Like God has so many things that he wants to speak into your identity, and how much he loves you and how perfect you are to him. And you can get that validation from the Lord if you don't have that father figure in your life speaking into that. God wants to do that for you.
Yeah, I also want to say one thing about, because you mentioned like having like another non-negotiable. I was thinking in regards to this, like for a guy or a girl, I think having boundaries and then seeing whether or not the other person values boundaries and will respect those boundaries is crucial, non-negotiable.
Because you entered into a conversation at some point
About boundaries. And if you don't actually have boundaries that you created, then you really don't have vision for purity and honoring each other, I will say.
Yeah.
If I don't have a boundary, then there's nothing that I really need to stick to. Then we can spend whatever amount of time and do whatever we want because there's no really things drawn. And I would say if you don't know where your boundaries are, look through the Bible. Find what it says. In the Bible, there's no really middle ground called dating. There really is single or married. That's kind of like the way that the Lord looks at like us. We are either not married or we are married. It's a covenant or it's not a covenant. And so I would say, look for the things that God says about being single. And I think Timothy, I remember Paul was talking to Timothy and he goes that literally like treat one another and treat like women as sisters or mothers. So that's kind of the boundary that is given to.
Yeah, what would you do with your sister? What would you do with your mom?
Yeah.
So what would I do with my mom? What would I do with my sister? And I would say there's a pretty good line to, well, if I wouldn't do that with my sister or mom, then I probably wouldn't do that with this. I know that sounds a bit intense or extreme, but that is, if we're looking at this biblically, the type of boundary you should have. And so you can kind of make boundaries according to that and maybe even look at where do I fail? Where do I usually, let's say it's late at night. I usually messed up in this relationship at this time frame or blah, blah, blah. Then I would say, and then explain those things and see how she reacts or he reacts to that. I don't want to do this. And they're like, well, now you're just being
legalistic.
Yeah, you're not.
You're being weird.
But then if you do, or if she does agree to it, and it's like, I really respect that you have boundaries, but then is not really attaining to those, then that's a red flag. She's not actually respecting you on the front end. Before any marriage, anything has happened, she's not honoring you. And that is a red flag.
Yeah.
And so
well, let's go into red flags and green flags. Let's start with some red flags. Let's be a little bit negative. Okay. So, Gabriel, what are good things? What are bad things to see? Meaning, these are the red flags in a girl. What would be some of those things? Maybe it wasn't her, but you're still evaluating. If these red flags show up, I want out. Yeah. But for guys that are just paying attention, listening to, for the very first time, what are red flags that they should be paying attention to? Okay.
Well, first thing is like that we all see as appearance. That's just like the reality of it. How is she dressed it's pretty
You mean
clear.
Modest or immodest?
Yeah, modest or immodest. How is she presenting herself?
A red flag or a green flag?
Yeah. Like we already kind of talked about this on like a little bit of social media, but that's a pretty great indicator, red flag. If it's like you're at parties, if you're always trying to show yourself at the beach, if you're always trying, whatever. I mean, these are such common things. And it's like, this is a red flag because you're just, and I know many girls are saying like, well, I'm not doing it for others. I'm doing it for myself. Well, you are doing this for others, whether or not, I guess, you're saying it. It's just the reality of what we do. Everything we post, everything we say, like in public and present ourselves, is to how others perceive us. Or else when we're home, you're not really dressing like that. That's just like the reality. That's the reality of it.
They would be dressing like that at home. But
no, you're not going to be. If no one saw this and you're like, then why don't you just take it and have it for yourself if you're the one who cares only? Or, I don't know, send it to your girls group chat. But you want other people to see this. So that, like, it's just the reality of that situation, I think. And I would say, yeah, a few red flags. I mean, there is quite a few. You can easily see if they're not really having a relationship with Jesus that is consistent, or maybe they're saying it, but you don't really see any actions that coincide with those words. I mean, if they are having a lot of friends that are boys, I think that is strange. If you're seeing the girl flirt with guys consistently, and that's just like the way she has a flirty personality. You're just flirting with guys a lot. That's not like, if I'm not doing that, and I'll say this, I also, if you have red flags or green flags and you have all these standards, you also kind of have to be what you're asking. If my like standard is that my wife will not be flirting with a bunch of guys all the time, or will dress like this or post like this. Well, am I flirting with a bunch of girls? Am I dressing like this or posting like this? So I think before even like you get into that, I think you really have to evaluate, am I the type of person that has this? If I really care about their relationship with their family, is my relationship with my family? You know, I would say evaluate yourself first.
Because you're the mirror.
Because you're the mirror, and then you can, based off of what you're personally doing, have that standard. Mm-hmm. And then, because you also will attract who you are. If I'm also placing myself in certain situations where these types of people are, if I'm on dating apps, let's say, like what type of standard do you think I'm going to get of women in these dating apps? Most likely. I mean, maybe there are some dating apps out there, I don't know, but probably not going to be that.
I mean, I think there's some good ones. I don't want to disparage that. I think there's some online dating that can be done well.
You still have to go through the evaluation process, even if that's how you meet. Like you have to meet, and all that. But we only have a couple more minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
and so maybe Kennedy, you give one red flag, one green flag.
Okay, I would say one red flag, and I really remember just drilling this into all my friends' heads whenever I was in high school and before I met Gabriel, was a guy that can't communicate how he really feels about you, or even has weak communication. Like a lot of guys, they just want to ask for your Snapchat. Like they don't really want to get to know you. If a guy's asking for your Snapchat, let's be real, he does not want to really get to know you. He wants to have late night conversations that lead to impure things. And that's just the truth, and that's just the facts. And I know that that's like a newer idea for our generation. But like if a guy's asking for your social media, then he doesn't really want to get to know you. He just wants to fool around and waste your time and make you lose the boundaries and the standards that you had for yourself. And so I would say that's a big red flag.
A green flag.
A green flag, man, I've kind of said some of the green flags that I've
green flag could be the opposite. He knows how to talk. He knows how to communicate.
Yeah, honestly,
what he wants to say.
I mean, that's honestly, I'll just say that was the biggest green flag I saw in Gabriel. Again, that conversation we had before our first date, that was amazing. And Gabriel constantly reaching out to me leading up to our first date. Hey, do you want to hang out? Hey, we're doing this. Hey, we're doing that. Hey, can I get your number? Yeah. And I'm going to set up this hangout. And he's talking to me face to face. And so I know that he actually just wants to get to know me, and he wants to actually date me.
Sure. So intentionality and all of that, love it.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you guys. Thank you guys for jumping in and sharing some of your great experiences. I loved everything you shared about. So if you guys know about other friends, couples, I think you should share this, let them know about some of this conversation and help them out even. So I think this is great content. So I really appreciate it, guys. Appreciate it. And we'll look forward to more stuff, and probably very soon you'll be having a baby.
It's true.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Excited.
All right, thanks.